Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Incubator Podcast. We are live at the CHNC Symposium in Denver,
Are you
Colorado.
tired of saying that yet?
No, that I can keep doing. And we have the pleasure of being joined for this segment with a returning customer, Dr. Rakesh Rao. Welcome back, Rakesh. And his colleague, Mary Revenis. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
So you two are members of the endocrine focus group, the endocrinology focus group.
That's right.
My dad's an endocrinologist. He's going to kill me if I make any mistakes on this one. And you had a very interesting presentation that you gave on a survey of neonatologists' perspective on the diagnosis and management of hyperglycemia in extremely low birth weight infants. For the people who didn't really have a chance to see our presentation, can you tell us a little bit what are some of the takeaway points and what did you want to leave the audience with in terms of what you found?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the survey was useful in that it showed that there's still quite a lot of work to be done in relation to in the field of trying to make a diagnosis and management of hyperglycemia, because there was quite a bit of variability in the responses.
For sure. And I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say I was impressed by some of the background information. I feel this in the unit, but you have 45 to 80% of ELBW infants experience hyperglycemia. It's a lot, right? So it's something that all of our units are dealing with. And a reminder, this association with increased mortality and comorbidities associated with ROP, IVH, NEC, and BPD. And we still don't know what to do about it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we're floundering a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
I think we're also struggling to define it in the first place. So I think not surprising we are floundering.
That's right.
For sure.
So what definition were most units using?
There was a variation around 180,
Okay.
for instance.
As the cutoff to start doing an intervention.
Yep.
Okay. And then I have here, it looks like most centers are decreasing the GIR as the first step in hyperglycemia. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Was it in the survey at all about what is the lowest GIR that people are using?
Yeah. So you're right. The survey was pretty consistent in showing that the first intervention is to decrease the GIR. But there were variations in how low a GIR they would accept.
Yeah, we're a little surprised because some centers were going as low as 3.5 milligrams per kilogram minute.
Yeah.
And some centers had no lower limit.
No
so
lower limit.
We actually don't know how low they go.
Wow.
Interesting. But it did see like the majority of centers, their lower limit was 4.
About 4.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. And then what are the other steps to manage hyperglycemia?
Right. Next step might be using insulin. But there was, again, a lot of variation in what's the starting dose.
Sure.
Or do you use continuous or a continuous drip, or do you use intermittent insulin? Variation in practice, again.
I see some of these other interventions that were on the survey, trying to get rid of steroids if you could, or at least wean them, just trying to get babies off of IV fluids. So advancing enteral feeds, lipids, discontinuing the lipids, hypertriglyceridemia as a potential cause for hyperglycemia, and then increasing the amino acids. Yeah, very interesting.
Have you guys found that centers are trying to toy with the concept of real-time glucose monitoring?
Well, that's so interesting. I think we would like to do some more looking into that, wouldn't we?
We are looking at that as Delphi process, actually.
Interesting.
But not in the ELBW, but actually in the HIE focus group.
Very interesting.
But probably will overlap with this at some point. So we're developing a modified Delphi survey and sort of a project looking at how to manage hypo and hyperglycemia in HIE population. But in the ELBW, I think the limitation is the CGM, the probe. You can't stick it anywhere on a baby who's 500 grams. So unless we have new technology that can monitor that in real time and give us feedback, I think we're a little bit limited in this population at least. at this time.
Yeah, I think that right now, I think most of the technology is probably for like around a kilo.
Yeah.
That's probably the best that people can do. But yeah, hopefully, I mean that's very interesting. Any other takeaways from the conference, or any other takeaways from the audience? Any questions? Any interesting comments that were made?
I think most people are surprised that we still don't know what we're doing for
Yeah.
most part, and trying to define hyperglycemia and when to start intervening and how to start intervening. But there is some consensus that decreasing glucose and trying to get rid of things that will increase glucose as a first step is probably the right way
Yeah.
to go.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the jury is still out there in terms of insulin, intermittent or
Right.
continuous,
Right.
and how to manage that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
when to stop. We're still not clear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think-
yes, ma'am.
I think one thing I took away from it was how valuable it was to have a mix of endocrinologists and neonatologists because to move this forward.
Mhm.
I think the energy generated, and also understanding each other a little bit more and realizing limitations of what we can do or what we know is very important. And I think that really moved working together. I think was really valuable in helping us to move the survey
Mhm.
forward. And that's the first step.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think are the next steps? Other things that the focus group is interested in looking at?
Well,
We have a lot of ideas.
yes.
But one of the things we're going to start focusing on is probably developing another survey looking at how people are using steroids under different conditions. It's going to be complex because we're going to be looking at
Opening Pandora's box, my friend.
yes, and once it's open, you can't close it.
That's right.
But yeah, that's I think our next project is looking at steroids.
Question about the PDA in there as well, just to make people crazy.
Yes,
That you guys will look at adrenal insufficiency
we are.
in the ELBWs.
We are.
Okay.
Ah, there you go.
Very much looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, same. Rakesh, Mary, thank you so much for dropping by. Congratulations on this great work.
Thank you so much for
Thank you so
having
much.
us.
Of course.